Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, I'd like to present you the LinkTextWithVariable asset I lately contributed to Unity's asset store. Keep in mind that this is my first package ever, so it won't be perfect, I guess. And also keep in mind that I'm from Switzerland, so my pronunciation won't be the best, but I think you'll understand everything I say. And if not, there's always the comment section to ask for any further information. Yeah, once you've downloaded the package, it will look something like this, and if you double click the LinkTextWithVariable folder, then you'll see that there's an editor folder, which is really important that those two scripts are in the editor folder because they do really nice stuff for you, or I guess they just make it easier for you to use this script. And there's a documentation folder in which you'll find a PDF which looks something like this. You can go to my website by clicking on this link, and yeah, it will look something like this. This is the documentation of the LinkTextWithVariable. What is the pros? Or why should you click this link instead of just reading it in here? Well, on my website you have the possibility to ask for support if you have any questions by just leaving a comment down here in the comments section. How do you get to this documentation when you're just on my start page of my website? It's quite easy. You just go to products, and then you see here the LinkTextWithVariable asset or section, and click on documentation, and it will take you there. Back in Unity, I'd like to show you what you can do with this asset. So first of all, let's create a text. You'll have to add a show property script onto that text. And the show property requires a text component added to the same game object so that it can display the value of your property or field in that text field. Yeah. So first of all, let's create our custom script in which we want to display any kind of variable or property. Let's name this player, just because it is a reasonable name, I think. Once Visual Studio has started up, we can add our custom fields in here. And let's say we're gonna make a public int money, and it equals to 100. Make sure it's public, because everything that's not public won't be displayed because it won't find it. Now we create a game object in here, and let's call it player2, and add the player mono behavior. And now what you're gonna do is you're going to drag the player to the script option here, and you see here that currently the transform script is selected, but we don't want the transform script, we want the player script, so click next, and you'll see that the player is now selected. Once you've selected your script, you can click the See All button if you don't know which fields or properties are in your script, and it will open up this list of all properties and fields, and you can see that some of them are gray, and that's just because they're not defined in my player class because they're from the base class, yes. And once you click one of these stats, it will appear in a green tone, and yeah, you see here that it has been written in here as the field name. And maybe some of you might have noticed that in here it has written money. That's just if it's empty here, it will automatically write the name of the variable with a double point. I don't know how to say that in English, sorry. Yeah, so the prefix is what is displayed before your text, so it will say money 100, and then there comes the suffix, and let's just make a dollar sign here. Now comes the refreshing part. It is important that you choose a very smart number of your refresh time. Because if you choose a number that's too low, it will cost you a lot of resources, and if you choose a number that's too big, it won't look good. But I think most of the time you're going to do it manually or every frame, so there are these two buttons, and yes, every frame will set this to 0, and manually will set it to infinity, so you'll have to call the refresh function, for example, by a Unity button .onClick event, and you can do the refresh every time this show property component gets enabled by selecting that, and then you can call a refresh and you'll see that it will display correctly. So we'll start this right now, because I'd like to show you something, or I'd like to show it at runtime. So right now, when we change the money variable in here, it should automatically change the money down here, and as you can see, that works just fine. Yep, so much about the variable or the field. Now let's go to something more complex. Let's say we have a public int money and a public in, oh, I can't write today, I'm sorry, public int tax. So you have to pay 50% tax. And now what you want to do, if you are in here and you want to display the text amount of money you have to pay, then you can't simply write money times tax. That won't work. What you have to do instead is write your own property, which you're going to call text money, and in here you want to define a getter, and this getter will return money times tax. So this is really useful, as you can see. And then in here you want to select text money, and you can refresh that, and you can see that it's now $150 instead of $100. Let's talk about updating. If you set this to manually, you'll see that once you've started your game and you change this, let's say that you change the money, it won't change here. You can refresh it by pressing the refresh button on your show property component, but that's not what you want to do in your final game, I guess. So instead, let's just say every time we click this button, it will increase the money. So let's say increase. Just a little example here, and in here we're going to write a method real quick which will add some money. So now we're going to subscribe to the onClick method, or event, sorry, and we're going to drag the player in here and say player add money, and we're going to add $10. And now, as you can see, it will add the money once we click the button. Oh, I think I just wrote 1 instead of 10. But yeah, it doesn't matter. But as you saw, it didn't increase, or it didn't display correctly. So how can we fix that? That's quite easy in here, because we know we don't change the money other than just by clicking on this button. So what you'll do is take this text and select the show property and call the refresh. And I know what I did wrong because I did just plus plus instead of plus equal amount. So now it should work fine. And once we click the increase button, you see that it goes up, and it goes up faster than it should. No, I mean, there's always the tax calculated or kind of multiplied. So now you see it works just properly. It goes up $10 per click. Yeah. So that's basically it. I mean, there are a lot of other things I could show you. Oh, maybe it's interesting to see what happens if you do something wrong here. Let's say text money instead of text money. So as you can see, it will cause this, or it will throw an exception. There's no property or field in your script type equals player, which is called text money. Make sure the property is public. That's just because as I started, I've always had problems because I wanted to display private or protected variables. Yeah, that's basically it. What is worth mentioning is that it works with static variables too. So let's just make this static and so yeah, you see it works just fine, and that's okay. So if there are any questions, then leave a comment in the comment section. There's also an example scene in here which contains a lot of examples. Yeah, basically you see here that the x and y coordinate of my mouse pointer is displayed, and you can see that there's a value which is an int, and it increases by clicking on this button, and there's a copy which gets updated once a second, and it's basically just a copy of this text here, and here is a static string. Yeah. So that's it. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if it helped you, and bye. See you next time.